Let's dive in. I'm back and I'm a little angry. I'm a little frustrated. I think that I have tried so hard to be publicly neutral that at the same time, on the backside, it's been mentally difficult at times. And I don't want you to think I'm insincere when I say that I'm publicly neutral. I have tried my absolute best to present my information almost in a way that the media would, okay? So without a ton of emotion tied to it or fueling it. But at the very same time, I am very emotionally invested. So anyway, a couple weeks ago, I was out of town. Some of you might remember. I went to the Holler. Not that I'm a overly city gal. I live in the suburbs. But I went to the Holler for the weekend and spent some time using a pew-pew for target practice. Hopefully that's okay to say. And as many of us were using multiple pew-pews to do target practice, the one thing that I just could not get out of my mind was watching the people stand there and use a very similar pew-pew to the pew-pew in question, and the location of the shells coming off of that pew-pew. Now, I know we have talked about this before on this channel, and other channels have talked about it, but it made my blood boil. And here's why. We can show a million sermons. We can show a million 911 calls. We can show videos. We can take firsthand accounts, okay? But the facts, the very facts, were ignored at the scene of the crime. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody can explain to me logically how a person does that to themselves and the weapon ends up 100 plus feet from the person. In order for that to happen, the person would have to pull the trigger, hit themselves in the head, and then throw the weapon 100 feet? I don't know. I'm not a girl's girl by any means. I consider myself fairly athletic. I played sports as a kid. I can set up 100 feet. Do you want me to set up 100 feet in my yard and throw something 100 feet, or attempt to throw something 100 feet, and see how easy or difficult that is? And the research has already been done. There was no floating. There can't be floating. Do you understand that there can't be floating? Number one, it takes many hours. I showed the research. I can show it again. In order for a body to actually float, like we're talking 24 to 48 to float. Not to mention, the water was hardly deep enough for a freaking kayak to get through. There's not floating on that. I don't need any freaking other facts. Those are the facts. There was a screw up somewhere. Somebody was paid. I don't know. But that is the fact of the matter. The scene doesn't add up. And that's just the initial drop in the bucket. But it doesn't add up. Justice for Mica and justice for all the other victims.